I got to spend a day in the life with Saj Hussain, a formidable property entrepreneur. If you starting today, you've got no track record, you've got no social media, what would your activities look like?
One skill that I would just want to master.
Saj has got businesses in property, from developing a lettings company, being a landlord himself, education, events. He runs a podcast, which I got the pleasure to be interviewed on. I will link that interview in the notes. You can jump there now or come to it later on. It'll be in the description below. I got to spend a whole day with Saj. I went around and looked at some of his projects, from HMO flips, which is not what many people are doing, but it's a no money down HMO flip. He shows through the numbers how he structured this with none of his own money. He showed us a flip project that he's also got on, again, structured with none of his own money.
We've grown that business as an in-house portfolio, so we've done well over $1 million in revenue.
He showed us around some of his older sort of projects. I got to speak at his mastermind, and then at the end of the day, I also got to speak at his networking event. It was great being around somebody like Saj. He's an absolute inspiration. Go and follow his page and make sure you give this a like now before we dive into the day in the life with Saj. So, quick coffee, first thing in the morning, Birmingham here, and we're gonna go meet Saj and get the podcast recorded. How did you adapt? Because you're quite an early adapter with it.
So actually, I started the YouTube channel a long time ago. I had a little dabble with it. Then in lockdown, all the events, everything stopped. And I thought, you know what, I've got a bit more time now.
Also, Saj, what you've got to bear in mind, it's not just the audience you already had. You already had a very big track record in property. You've been in the property game for a long while. Lots of social proof, lots of credibility. I say to people, like, look, you've got to measure yourself equal for you. Yes. So where are you at? Like, if you've never done a property transaction before, you've got no social media in the past, you've got no social proof, you can't be measuring yourself against Saj, that's been in the game for years, loads of social proof.
It's not sharing your journey, just what you're doing each day and stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, the challenges, the highs and lows, because property's not easy, it's hard work.
It is, yeah.
You know.
Any business is as well.
And being transparent about, look, here's the highs and lows, I think that really helps to start and build.
Yeah, I think the biggest lever you can pull in business today is building a personal brand. It opens doors, builds relationships. I use it as my business card now. So, hey, just connect with me on Instagram.
Yes.
Because I know
the social proof. Yes.
Yeah.
With social media these days, it's almost not a case of who do you know, who knows you.
Like, forget getting followers for social media. Just use it as your CV. So just document what you're up to. Show how you analyse a deal. Show you have done the research for your area. Because ultimately, what happens is loads of people are knocking on some doors now, and they're now got a preconceived perception of investors because everybody wants to be an investor. So you've got
B&B deals you've got.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Build an online sort of profile, forget to follow him, and then when you do meet an agent, connect with them online. And if they can see you know how to analyse a deal, you've done your research in the area and you're consistent, they're going to take you a hell of a lot more serious than somebody that...
Yeah, and I think the other thing that we were talking about this yesterday actually, the other thing with that is what happens is you're taking it from the formal relationship to slightly informal, a bit more friendly, and agents move around quite a lot as well.
Yeah.
So if they've moved from one agency to another and you've started to build that relationship, it's wasted. But if you're connecting on social media, you're still
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely key.
That's cold.
Saj, tell me about this building then. So where are we now? This is just your studio?
Yeah, so this is here is a studio where we are. We've been here probably about 4-ish years, and we took a couple of rooms in here. But we didn't really need them at the time, and it was a case of, well, actually, if we miss this opportunity, we ain't going to see the space again.
Right, okay.
So let's just grab it, and then we'll figure out what to do with it.
Okay, and the events are in this building as well?
So downstairs we run workshops there, networking events, most of the workshops are there. So, I mean, what we end up paying in a hotel over a year anyway, actually, it's probably the same or similar what we end up paying here, but you're in control of the environment, the branding, you know, when you use it, there's no double bookings or anything. It's most of the time it's empty, it's not used, but it's ready and to use for whenever we need it. So this is the studio we do the filming here, podcasts and stuff we've done here.
So much easier. We set up, ready to go, walk in, turn the cameras on. Do you want to go get coffee? Should we go get coffee?
No, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm actually not much of a coffee drinker. The only time I probably have coffee is when I'm with somebody or I've got events or stuff on. We want to have a look at a couple of projects, so we're going to have a look at a couple of properties because we've got to be back here for my afternoon session. Is this the project?
That's a project, yeah. So we've picked this up through one of our inner circle mentees. Actually, he sourced it for us. Yeah. Yeah. And it was a 2-bed house.
Okay.
That's what it started life. We're changing it to 3-bed now.
Okay, yeah.
And so it's quite a simple conversion. conversion really. We're not doing an extension, no lofts. We're really reallocating the bathroom that used to be an oversized bathroom, turning that into a bedroom and moving the bathroom to the middle room.
Yep.
So you'll see how we slice that in. But
so what did you say you picked this up for? So what was the purchase price on it?
253, and values on the street here are 450 plus.
Yeah. Oh.
The only thing I'm supposed to add to that is that they don't really spend the money on the houses.
Yeah.
So that's what we actually literally back to brick, everything new, because at that point they're not spending any money on the repairs, more or less. It's just a necessity. Yeah.
Definitely back to brick. Yeah.
Yeah. So the plan here is this is going to become the kind of obviously front reception room. We've changed the stairs around. So originally we had the stairs coming out from the other side. So we've moved them around because we're doing a full kitchen on that side. So it's slightly unconventional.
What was the cost? I love asking costs. A lot of people, one of the hardest things people start is trying to get an understanding of the cost. So what was the cost of building stairs in, changing them around? Like what would that?
It's not, I mean, for us, the way we've done it, because originally we actually had this given out to a contractor who was meant to do everything, but we pulled that back now, so we moved our in-house team on this.
Okay.
So our cost is probably slightly different to what you normally look at, because we're obviously just fixed labor, day rates, and then the material, whatever is material costs. So
how come you pulled away from the contractor?
Well, the contractor, he was chasing us for quite a while to work with him. That nice guy, but okay, well, that's fine. We'll try him on a project, and we're building some flats as well. Thought, okay, we'll give him that project. And then we started off with those, and then I think during that time we took on a lot of So we spent a great bit of time marketing, picking up all this business,
and then capacity.
And then it was just like this thing is just we're going way off time scales.
Yeah,
this is just not working. You know what I mean?
I think that was that, but also on this side we had quite a significant delay to the party wall agreements. So that kind of put a bit of a spanner in the works as well. So we probably got stuck for nearly a couple of months sorting that out, because we actually had to get party wall surveyors to act on both of the neighbor sides.
Right.
We had steels going in to take the chimneys out, so we then had them request for a checking engineer, which is all adding cost to us. So we probably spent close to 3.5 grand.
So all that you can have, and all the not so straightforward neighbour you can have, we've had.
Yeah,
so when you're doing any work on a wall like either of these, so that one's had the chimney removed over there, and that wall is a shared wall with a neighbour because it's terrace properties, and the same thing on this side. So if we're doing any work on that wall, you're supposed to have approval and consent from your neighbour that you're doing that, which is called a party wall agreement. So you can either just, they sign a piece of paper to say, yeah, they're happy for you to just crack on and just do it, or they might say, well, actually we want an independent surveyor to look at it and make sure it's being done properly, and we have to pay for it. And we've had that on both sides. So, and one of them was a surveyor as well, I think.
You'll normally have to do the party walls if you're taking chimneys out, adding steels in, maybe doing a water extension that's going to be neighbouring to the neighbours. If you're doing a loft conversion both sides straight away, it'll just depend. Obviously here we're on a terrace, so we have to deal with both neighbours. If you're,
a lot of people do little projects and stuff and they don't bother with these things. I mean, the way we see, we want to sell these for really good money. Yeah. And so we want to make sure all the paperwork, everything's in order. Yeah. We don't want what party wall agreement.
Yeah.
We don't want to be having those conversations.
Yeah, absolutely.
But lots of people I know will do stuff like this without. I'm not used to these.
Originally, it used to come up through here.
Yep.
But we're gonna put a full width kitchen in this end, so slightly unconventional the way you normally gonna have it there. But what we want to do is create this more open, because it's quite a small space at the end of the day, right? So we're gonna have a floor to ceiling, fully fitted kitchen.
Nice.
And then we've opened this up, so because of this steel, we had to deal with this party wall.
Yep.
We're gonna have a lot of units starting from here, where we have the ceiling a little bit. They're going to come to that partition. That's going to be built in a full height fridge, full height freezer, a few louder units for storage. And then this becomes almost like a small utility space. We're going to have built-in washing machine as well with a washer dryer. And we're just adding a WC, like a cloakroom at the back of this one. So that becomes like all opened up a little bit more.
So no extension of it, just reconfiguration of
the space. Because originally this used to be the small kitchen. Yeah. Literally just two rows of units.
Yeah, great value.
This will work quite well then.
Adding value to properties is bringing the kind of kitchen into the dining space and having that big open space, diner kitchen. Yeah. It's what people desire more.
The way we've designed it is also we're going to have like a space for a dining table. So we're going to have like one of the points, put some nice bar lights or something, and it'll feel like, it's quite small, but we had to spend quite a bit of time trying to plan it beforehand, just to make sure we maximize the space from well, the full layout really. So we've got one of our designers, she works for us for quite a few years now actually, so she's been helping us with that. Outside we've repointed the hole in the back. Well, the guys are still swapping out some of the bricks that were damaged.
One option was just to render it a nice traditional.
Beautiful, but I don't, it breaks my heart when I see people render old traditional brick buildings.
I think with this area, I think one thing to mention as well, it is a conservation area, so
Okay.
you have to be very mindful of what you're doing. So just kind of following the guidelines of the local conservation policy.
Did you have to get them out with consent for anything, or
No, really,
Just work within the guidelines.
within the guidelines, yeah. We're not actually changing anything that require additional permission. But hence, again, it's more of a restoration in that sense, to a certain extent, some of the features. Gardens are going to be quite simple, quite basic. We had to drop...
These are the walk-through gardens, you know, the ones you can walk.
So that's probably, I'd say, one of the slight downsides, but I think it's quite common in this area, so it's
Yeah,
not,
so people-
it doesn't really put people off.
Yeah.
For cost savings, we're going to retain the shed here. We're just going to tidy it up, you know, render it out, the bits out, paint it all up, just sort it out so it looks nice and tidy. But because you've got quite a decent amount of storage here, they used to have a small little other outbuild here where we've knocked that out, leveled it off. The neighbors, they've done that very fancy fence here, which is amazing, but we couldn't incur the cost of that. We've gone with a more budget version of the
We maintain the colour scheme.
Yeah.
we actually had to get the guys to do like the normally you get the red panels, so I had the guys say, like, just give me natural wood to match that.
Yeah.
So they custom made these for us, so at least you know, it matches a little bit more.
We've got a brick wall at the back. I didn't even know we had a wall.
Yeah,
at the
so
back.
to be fair, we had there used to be a bed for flowers, so we took that down. We exposed that now. They're going to wash that, probably maybe repoint it. Yeah. The plan is really just to get it turf to probably maybe around here, and we'll just get this all slabbed up.
Yep.
So we have a bit of a patio here for them. That'll be quite a nice,
It's nice,
relatively private-ish garden, yeah.
Unless somebody decides to have a little jog through.
So here when we strip this out, nice big loft space. Now we can convert the loft. We lose space getting into the loft because the rooms are quite small. You probably won't add as much to it as you're going to spend because they're still quite small houses.
Yeah.
So what we're doing somewhere like this, what we're trying to do is make that space usable.
Right.
So we'll board it all out, we'll put light up there, we'll put velcro up there and stuff. So our potential buyer can see it's a usable space, whether it's for storage or whatever it is.
Even a spare room for a kid, it still kind of works as a room, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You don't have to go that 4 mile for the regulations and the cost.
That's it.
Yeah.
So we try and do it, we kind of clear it all out, put some lighting up there. Are we putting radiator up?
We'll put a radiator up, a few sockets. We're going to be insulating this. The roof to a certain extent, and obviously additional insulation here in between the joists, so it's going to be full building regs at this point, but that's not going to be fully building regs for a habitable space.
Yeah.
It is more storage space, and we're not having a full,
Just a loft
it's a sturdy loft ladder with a rail on it.
Yeah.
So it'll definitely be very useful storage / you know, we'll probably put a carpet down, so it looks nice. We're not going to go and skim it, probably just going to be wood chip boards on it, something nice and tidy. But it'll definitely be
it's just
usable
often
space.
buyers, they can't visualise what can be done.
Yeah.
We do it in garages as well sometimes, we'll like board it all out and stuff and put the lighting, heating in and stuff there. If they want to park a car in there, can nobody park a car in garages. They can see it's a usable space, they can do something else with it.
Makes it so much more desirable as well. As you said, where they don't visualise it themselves and they come in, they go, oh wow.
Yes.
Like,
Or we could do this with this room, we could do that here. And so that just helps the settings. Little things like that will just make it more sellable for us. With these kind of projects, we just like to just turn them around and just get decent profit out of them.
So any unforeseens, apart from the neighbours, unforeseen with the party walls, like, because this looks new, was this...
No, so new joists throughout. The things that have kind of pushed the cost up was the party wall that delays on the timelines, but also the surveyors, the checking engineers, the structural engineers, and the only compromise we had to put is steels across from here to the middle wall, then steels on the other side. The challenge bit is that it's a single skin brick wall between this and the other building. That was the main challenge. That was definitely an unforeseen. Originally we were thinking to save most of the walls and just kind of skin with mesh, but then the plaster was just very bad around the wall, so we end up again, you know,
they haven't spent the money on them over the years, so you start touching one thing and the whole thing's not fun.
And some of the walls were fine, and we could reskin them, but they weren't plumb, they weren't straight. So at that point, we want to try and achieve a high-end good finish because of the area we're in here. So, and this will be what I'd say is like a modern traditional finish, because we're still going to be reinstating some of the traditional features that you normally have in these types of houses, but it'll be effectively all brand new.
Because what we're selling this for, you could buy a decent 3-bed semi, you know, with a garage in some places.
Yeah.
So the finish is important and the appearance.
Yeah, it's a style profile you're going after, for sure. And again, this is what I say to people all the time. Say, what are you doing on a refurb? You've got to look, going back to what I was saying the analogy earlier on with the Old Kent Road and the Mayfair. Yes. You've got different spec of builders for different styles, different spec of finishes. Yes. It's all alignable. But sorry, go on. You're just gonna.
Yeah. So this is effectively the master bedroom. It's decent size. It's not the biggest of the rooms, but still decent. And hence, taking the chimneys out did help us with the space a little bit. Yeah. And we had to get the chimneys out because the way we moved the bathrooms on the other side. Yeah. Because otherwise, we would have been really tight on the space.
Because I was thinking, in these style properties, some of the chimneys do look quite like this old traditional houses. Get the traditional sort of log burner sort of style thing in there.
But these are so narrow. I think if they were wider, we would try and make.
You would have done that,
a mixture of modern with a little.
Yeah, in all fairness, we have retained the cast iron fireplaces.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, we have retained them so we can reuse them somewhere else if we want to. Yep. Because they were quite unique in their feature. They're quite expensive. They're second hand, the full set. They're good for
If you want to buy them, ping us an email.
If you want to buy one, we might sell one. But yeah, first fix is 90% done on electrics. We still got to do a few bits, and then we've got the first fix and plumbing starting this coming Saturday.
You can show us.
Oh, sorry, go space. But this used to be one room, so it used to be a fairly good sized room as well. So what we've done, split that quite almost in half, not quite. This is slightly smaller, so that's going to be the bathroom, family bathroom. That's going to be built-in storage, like for towels and whatever. See, this is where the chimney was, so we needed to get that out because we're going to have the bath on this side here. We're going to have the wall hung WC on that side. You're in the bath now. You want to sit on the toilet there, and then we're going to have a full vanity. Yeah, this is going to become like a, let's say, a box room, but it's still a decent sized room. Like, it's not too bad.
Yeah, you get queen bed in here, wouldn't you, as well?
Queen bed.
Good measure of a size of a room. But that's a little hack as well, isn't it? Like, because you don't need natural light, do you, for the bathrooms? So if you've got enough space, and when you've got these big bathrooms.
Yeah. So this is a 3-bedroom is much more valuable than as a 2-bed.
Yeah.
But we've got to put the bathroom somewhere. If we put it downstairs, it's not as ideal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And it doesn't work so well. But slicing out within up here somewhere, you can get the 3rd bedroom in.
And the fact, sorry to cut you there again as well, but the fact you don't have the loft space as well, even with smaller rooms, you've got that extra initial storage. We turned the 2 into a 3 once, but there wasn't enough storage and the rooms were a bit too small, so it didn't quite pay off how we thought because exactly that storage. But where are you going to have that?
And it's a few little hacks we're doing. So this used to be the bathroom, but we're going to drop the ceilings here, built in like a bit of a cupboard as well for storage. Oh, so nice. Talking about storage, because we've got a bit of a, like, we're going to have the door roughly here to get into here. So once we put the guys put a partition here, we're going to have a bit of storage here just in the walk through. So just little pockets of space we'll utilize for that. And this used to be the original bathroom.
Moving the door out more into the hallway, it doesn't really give you much more space in the room, but what actually will feel more spacious if the door's here than there.
And you can see while we saw that this was an oversized bathroom. Yeah. But literally, I think they had the bath here, the toilet here, and the sink somewhere there. Yeah. It was just like, you know, it kind of lend itself quite well to reconfigure. I think with these older houses though, there's a lack of insulation. Yep. So what we're doing is we're putting Silatex insulator boards on the external walls. It's going to eat up a little bit of space, but it will help massively with the EPCs. Yep. And same here, again, we're going to have to insulate it and drop it down, and the guys are just going to basically work on that. One of the little things we do is we get an EPC assessor to come out at the start of the works. We pay him whatever the kind of call-out fee would be, and it really is worth the payment because they will give you exactly the information you want to get to get it to the highest possible rating for the EPCs. Oh, nice. And nowadays with the utility costs and the efficiency, it is something obviously the buyers will be still taking into account.
You're not paying very much for them to come out and have a look. And most of the time you get the EPC assessor in at the end, they look at it, they can't see what's behind the walls or what insulation you've done, so they either have to guess, and these days the guess needs to be conservative.
They are very
conservative. You probably end up with a lower rating than you could have achieved. So by them coming out and seeing what you've done, it means we've got a better chance of getting a decent EPC rating on it.
Yeah, nice little hack. But yeah, people are definitely paying more attention to that when they buy. And
I think our main delay was the party wall stuff. Now that we're back on track, it's pretty much a good speed.
How many weeks you reckon that's before we are, the works wise, we've finished?
2 months, 2.5 months at least, thereabouts.
So how long was the delay then?
About 2 months.
About 2 months?
Because really we'd expect something like that to be turned around in about 12 weeks.
Okay.
Start to finish, 12 to 16 weeks thereabouts, depending on how many guys we got on. Yeah. Now that obviously we had the team changes as well, that kind of put a bit of delay, the party wall stuff.
So now the guys that work for us, they're on the team.
Yeah. So So finance-wise, so we're going, these delays do impact finances, doesn't it? Do you do it? So
Yes, we are on a JV. We tend not to borrow on the traditional loans. So there's a JV partner, they'll fund it and we'll share the profit with them.
Okay, so that absorbs the navigations of that. And how is a JV partner with that? Like,
yeah, I mean, obviously the sooner it gets finished, the better it is for them.
Yeah.
Quicker. But they've worked with us before. This particular investor on projects as well. And some projects will get done quicker, some will take a little bit longer, some you make a little bit more, some you might get a little bit messy. It all kind of irons itself out in the long term.
I think with these projects, like as long as the purchase price is right and we've got a good end value, there's enough margin there anyway.
Something like we could try and aim for around 100 grand profit margin, and some of it can just depend on the market.
Yeah, for sure.
But we always kind of pitch at the top end.
but if you've got that margin, there's room for wiggle, isn't there? You know, when you've got these little tighter sort of ones, on the flips, you just need that margin now. So numbers, everybody wants to know numbers. Everybody knows it. So purchase costs.
253 we paid.
253 we paid. I'd say about 85 to 90k all in spend wise on the refurb, thereabouts. We're still sorting out the garden, rebuilding the front retainer little wall. Again, we got to take into the first fix on everything. It's all new basically.
And high spec as well.
All new windows, new doors. We've literally got windows coming in for the back next this week. Tomorrow's Wednesday, isn't it? Yeah, so tomorrow.
What price point we're going to go in at?
445 to 450.
450 would be where we want to try and pitch first.
Yeah.
A lot of it will base on the agents. What we'll do, we'll get them around and say, what do you think? What do you think where we should be based on? What experience are you saying that?
Basically, if we're kind of 240 to 250, there's a good 100 grand profit in it. But even if it's at 230 to 225, we're still at 80, 85k.
420 to
425 to 430.
And if when we're with an agent, if we are not getting anywhere with that agent within a few weeks, we won't leave it weeks and weeks and weeks. We'll just take it.
So you make sure you don't get a tie-in clause with them, and so.
Because most time we look at it and say, look, it'll sell itself. You just got to get it right. It doesn't matter whose name's outside on that board. The location, the finish is what's going to sell it. So we'll use that not to go into any long contract.
Okay, and cost-wise as well in between. So any other associated costs? What was the cost with the party walls, solicitors? Rough costs.
When we look at costs, we look at all spend. So we don't have refurb and then other bits. So when we look at our total spend, like
that 80 odd thousand.
Yeah, the 80, 90 grand.
Everything.
Stamp duties.
We don't separate it. What we look at is purchase price, spend, sell price.
Yeah, that's it. That's what you.
I mean, we will have the breakdowns, so we'll sit down and work everything through.
I think the party walls will probably cost us about 3 grand. 3.5,
something like that it was, because we still had to pay for both of the surveyors for the neighbours, and these guys, because it is only a single wall, a single skin wall. We had to pay our structural engineer to do all the calculations, but then they instructed a checking engineer who effectively checks our structural engineer's calculations. So we've got to pay two party surveyors.
They possibly could ask.
And
legals typically, you've got probably about £1,000 on the solicitor itself, then your disbursements and the bits and pieces, and the purchase and stuff, the stamp duty, and then when we have sale, we'll have the estate agent costs, we'll have the selling solicitor's costs as well. Those are things all outside the refurb, and then your holding costs, council tax, electric and stuff also holding it.
And is there an appetite for flipping? Obviously there is a degree of it, but is it a bit more, is it stickier at the moment to sell?
I mean, things will take a little bit longer to sell at the moment, but the key thing for us is if there's a sufficient margin, then that's okay, we don't mind. And something like this, we don't have oh well, you know what, if it doesn't sell, we'll just rent it out. That's not what we want to do.
It's not plan B.
This is to sell. That's it. And because the finish and stuff on them, they'll never be the same again. They'll try and sell it later. So our model is once we sell, that's it, there to sell.
But the thing is, we're still going to be a bit more conservative with the figures we're selling it at, because even we've had sale price here for like 475 for 3 beds up to 500 when we were at the peak of the market. So we were saying like 440, 450. That's already.
So it's going to depend on what the appetite is like when we go to market. So for example, if we have another interest rate drop, that will probably fuel
open statement
and stuff, and all these things impact when we go to market and stuff as well. So the end price. Sometimes when people calculate things, right, I've got to sell it for that. I've got to do within the budget and stuff, and that's going to work. So what we say is that if we buy at the right price, we're spending X on it. If we're going to end up making around 100 grand, I think we're good.
Yeah, and there's plenty of wiggle room with that, like, so.
Yeah, if it's going to cost a little bit more, it's going to take a little bit longer, you sell it a little bit less, you still walk away with a decent profit.
Yeah, and again, having JVs really helps with that, because when you start doing bridging, it puts the pressure on it, when you get these challenges, it really starts squeezing.
We prefer not to bridge if possible.
Yeah.
We prefer just work with investors.
Yeah.
That's always a good preference. And if the stuff that we keep, then we remortgage that at the end, if we're keeping it. That's when we'll use mainstream lenders.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
On the refinance, but we'll still buy refurb investor
With
investor money or mix it along, depending on the.
If you starting today, look, it's a very different environment today, isn't it? Like social media, you said the networking, the competitiveness of it all. We strip away your social media, we strip away your social proofs. You've got no back track record, you've got no social media. You're literally thinking, right, this is the seed of an idea, property. What would your activities look like? Day one, week one, month one, year one.
I think we talked about this earlier on the podcast, and you mentioned it. I'm a big believer in it. Your ability to find deals is absolutely key.
Yeah.
That's the one skill that I would just want to master, regardless of whatever it takes, whoever I need to learn from, however much time and energy, effort I need to put into it. That's the one thing I'd want: the ability to be able to find, negotiate, and secure deals.
Yeah.
If I can do that in a location that's kind of close to me, I can get to them easy, and then I think selling the deals is so much easier. If I've got a property that's worth 200 and I've agreed 150 grand for argument's sake, if someone's going to make 50 grand out of that deal, I can find 5 grand for that easily. It's not going to take a lot of effort to sell that deal. So my belief is it's very easy to sell good quality deals. You can either go directly to networking events and find people there, Facebook groups, people are actively buying in those particular locations to find these type of people, or you just go to other sources who already have an audience of people that will buy that area. So selling, I think, is so much more easier to do. So my effort would really be in finding and trying to find and understand those deals.
Well, and selling them.
And selling them, particularly just to build up the initial cash flow. And reality, and that's how I started at the beginning. It was just finding deals. And around 2008, 9, those early years as well, 10, 11, it was so much easier to find deals because we were literally just falling all over them every day. The challenge was trying to find the buyers. Because there wasn't the money, the liquidity wasn't there, people couldn't get the finance. It was much harder to sell at that time, but it was so much easier to buy. But I learned so much in sitting down with someone in the front room and say, okay, need to sell, need to achieve this, right? What else is important? Why is that important? And you're just trying to figure out how can I help them, and then how at the same time can we turn this as an opportunity for somebody else to create some profit from as well.
So you said that's pretty much how you started. What was the first deal you sold? How did that work? Like, did you intentionally go and do it as well, or did you stumble across this?
No, it was intentional. So when I first started learning about property, because my background is in IT, I'd always worked for myself as well, do a few other bits and pieces, and we were talking about cars earlier. I think I must have traded about 500 cars. It's a natural progression. So whether it's
especially back then as well,
whether it's a car or whether it's a computer or something, you're just selling, you're just buying and selling, and it just happens to be property what we do now. But your core skills, your marketing, sales skills are still the same. So when I started learning about property, the thing I struggled with, again we talked about this earlier on, I was just overwhelmed by lots of different ideas on how you could make money from property, and where do you go, what do you do? And the fear inside me was, well, even if I find something interesting, I haven't got the money. I haven't got any money to do a deal to buy it, and even people were talking about no money down at the time. I thought, well, I don't really understand how this works and how I'm going to do this. So what we'd focus on, or what I was focusing on at that time, was, okay, I just need to do the thing I'm told to do. It's a case of just do the next step. Put some leaflets out, get a phone number in place, people will ring you and you go and talk to them and understand about their problems. And so at the beginning I was doing lots of these, and I was potentially building up quite a lot of sellers, but I was actually scared of doing the next thing of how do I now turn this into a deal to sell to somebody else. So I'd work out what the problem is, I'd work out a solution to it, I'd kind of work out what they'd accept, which would be an opportunity there, and then I'd do nothing, then I'd move on to the next one. And it really took help from a mentor to unblock that for me, and said, look, you just need to talk to people who you've met who've said they're interested in buying this stuff. And at that time, nobody was thinking about any compliance and stuff. And
I didn't know what it was.
I've talked to this bloke over there, they want to sell. If you give me a couple of grand, we can get this to work.
I didn't know what it was. I'm not saying it either. I didn't weren't compliant when I started because I just didn't know what it was.
Yeah, and I think very few people at the time, or even the larger sources I remember at the time, they weren't. It's only over time people have realised, well, actually, we're not that different from what an estate agent does. The only thing is we get paid slightly differently. but the overall process is the same and should fall under that compliance.
I think it's because a lot of people flooded it and a lot of people messed up with it.
Yes.
When there's a low barrier to entry
Yeah.
and a high reward, you get a lot, again, them people have got good intentions but can't
Yes.
deliver on those. And
Yeah.
I think the FCA's now stepped in and gone, oh, right, we need to look at this, and with the education. But go on,
Yes.
sorry, carry on, mate, I'm jumped in.
Yeah, no, what really helped then was just them helping me get over the fear and say, right, get on the phone now. Ring
Yeah.
that person. You said you'd met that person, they were interested. Get on the phone and talk to them now. And literally making me do those calls and slowly starting to build the confidence actually I can do this. And that really helped then to progress. And then slowly from there I went on to start doing some buy-to-lets by JV. The first one, the way that came about was I had a deal where a guy was about to get repossessed. We've been talking for months with this guy about his property, and it was getting close to the repossession stage, and I've been speaking to somebody about buying it who'd bought a number of deals from me in the past, and he wasn't really confident on my numbers that I was saying that, look, you'll probably have to rent it for this much, it's going to need this much to just tidy it up a little bit, and it was a little bit tight, and he was reluctant to buy it, and I was thinking, I've spent months trying to get this thing done. The seller's going to lose his property, he's going to get repossessed. I'm not going to get paid anything out of this. I've spent all this time and energy on it, and the buyer's going to potentially lose out on a good deal. So I said, I tell you what, look, you do it, don't pay me any fee. I'll just sort out I'll make it work as I said it will. I'll get you the rent and I'll get the work done on. It was like $3 grand of work or something. It wasn't very much. And then you just pay me something at the end. And then we did that. That all worked, and then he paid me half of the rental profit. Okay. And then he said, well, I'll just pay you with that. You've kind of done the work and stuff. And so that was my first accidental joint venture, if you like. But then it really kind of snowballed after that. The penny dropped about using somebody else's money. I thought if I keep bringing value, then I can earn some money out of that on a reoccurring basis. At the moment, I'm having to work and graft every day to find deals, to sell deals, to earn something. Whereas actually that, whatever it was, 30, 40 quid a month, it's going to keep coming in forever now.
Yeah.
And that really was a big mindset shift for me at that time. And then from there went on to do some flipping property. I quite enjoy the flips, so we did quite a lot of flips at the time. And then some smaller HMOs, like 4-person HMOs, we started looking at how to create some cash flow. And then some larger HMOs, like 6-7 beds, they became kind of bread and butter stuff. Service accommodations, commercial conversion, building new builds, houses, apartments, and a lot of lease option stuff over the years. Particularly in the early years, I did quite a lot then. Probably 2014-ish, around that time, the market was starting to pick up. I was doing fewer and fewer lease option type stuff because it just wasn't the right market for that type of strategy. That was kind of how it's evolved. So sometimes people look at me and say, oh, you do so many different things. I said, I didn't do them all at the same time, but that's why it worked. When I was trying to do everything at the same time, nothing was working. It was just a mess because I was just trying a little bit of everything. But what that did do, that trying a little bit of everything, is massively accelerated my learning and understanding of how different strategies and techniques and things work. Because I've been trying it and trying to figure it out, and I might do one deal or it might have failed, but I'd learned an enormous amount in the process, and I'll move on to the next thing. Because I was just obsessed with, I need to make some money, Oh, that looks like we're making money, just off doing that. That typical entrepreneurial thing we were talking about earlier on. But it was all, for me, it was all around property. This strategy, try that, sell this deal over there. That person over there mentioned it can do X, Y, Z, go and see them. And that's really kind of how it started and evolved.
Oh, what a great story, The thing I'm pleased that you shared, which I don't think people share enough, is like the honesty you're saying. I was stuck in the mindset of the fear. Like the biggest obstacle people have got to overcome, and a lot of people forget. Like, I was speaking to somebody that I coach the other day, and I said, I remember when we stepped up from this to here, and the fear I had, and waking up 3 o'clock in the morning and trying to get through that. And as I was telling you before, I joined the ad spend, spent 15k, not for the information. Most people think they're joining, you need to pay a mentor to teach you, which you will learn from them, of course, inevitably you will learn from them. But the biggest thing you'll get from them is unlocking them limiting beliefs. And the thing with them limiting beliefs, they're subconscious. And how our brain operates is, it don't like in that we're scared or anything like that. So it turns up in forms of other forms that just kind of justify it, and the self-sabotages you subconsciously. But it's nice that you shared that. And
you know, Tony Robbins has this great saying, what other people think about you is none of your business. It's not your problem. We're obsessed about what somebody might think or how somebody might feel about what we're doing. But it's easy to say that, but it's so difficult to implement that, not be concerned about what other people might be thinking about us in a situation. and we just got to focus on helping ourselves.
Yeah, and mentors, especially when you pay for them, you know, like I've been coaching somebody, they're doing tremendously well, but they've got a really, really low ticket program, and they said nobody getting results. Not nobody, they are getting good results, sorry, let me rewind that, but not as many people as they'd hoped to get.
Yeah.
I said, because when you don't pay attention.
Absolutely, so true. When I first started mentoring, we were charging at £10,000. That was like, you know, me struggling to even get those words out of my mouth.
Yeah,
that's what it's going to be.
It's scary, isn't it? Charging
and I've been training and mentoring for another property company for years and years and years, the most difficult, challenging clients before I went off on my own. So it's not as though I hadn't been doing it, I was just starting it, but I'd never done it for myself before. And so then we started off with a group of 9 people, and I started with that. And now, you know, our training program's like 20 grand for mentoring, but there's so much value that we bring in and then they get. Actually, I know that it's good value, but at the beginning we don't believe in ourselves that somebody do that, and sometimes that can be our own challenges around, well, would I pay 20 grand on somebody else? The fact is, I've paid several times, like 25, for mentoring from other people as well. So when you do that yourself, then it's easier to accept.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's been a big mindset shift for me. I put my prices up when I'm mentoring, and even now I get challenged with it. You get scared, but yeah, you got to build that undeniable evidence, don't you? You know, when you see the results coming through from people, you realise, right, okay, this does work, and it works even better as my prices increase, and you just get better quality, not quality of people, but you just get more serious people.
Yes.
How does that work?
So what we've done, we've said to the owner, the money that you want, we can't give you, but we might be able to give you that in another way.
Yeah.
Meaning, rather than now, we give you in a year's time. So if you give us a year, we'll give you the money. In the meantime, we'll have the property. It's got no charge on it. So we'll get it renovated. We'll start creating an income from it, and then we'll sell it. But at the point of sale, he'll get his 260.
Yeah. Okay.
He said. So an assisted sale is we're partnering with the owner to sell the property. So effectively, although we're paying more for it, once it's finished, we've got the rental income that we're generating off it, and we're not paying anything during that time.
Yeah. So it allows you to pay more, it gives
yes.
you the flexibility. Yeah.
So we'll benefit both ways. So we'll get the rental income for the duration of within a year. So we're going to be, the works have taken us nearly 6 months because we're kind of the teams doing this and other things as well. Yeah. So then the next 6 months we'll get full income for that. There's no mortgage to pay, just utility costs. And then once we sell that, we'll get an uplift as well.
Yeah. So we'll sell it on as commercial value.
And it's the classical, even though they're not, you don't fall over these types of people, but it's a classical, you've relieved these pain.
Yeah.
You're creating a win-win both kind of ways around that. So how did you find him again? Did you say?
He was a student, he was a former student.
Yeah, so again, that network, and
yeah.
students come to you because you've got an online profile. Profile feeds into all this with staff, and like tell a little bit of a story about how you two met in the car kind of thing. It really, really, like, do you want to explain as well to the camera a little bit more your role, how you're working with these? He was getting us up to speed a little bit in the car.
Yeah, so we've been working together for about 8 years now, something like that.
8 years,
over 7 something years, yeah. So
that's where the Birmingham accent's creeping in.
Started with HMOs.
Yeah.
That's always been the case, and I'm still doing them, but not as much now.
HMOs and flips, development.
And then 2019 we've launched short-term lets. We've grown that business as an in-house portfolio, so we've grown that team to manage our portfolio. Okay. So we've done well over $1 million in revenue just on the short-term lets.
And you manage that in-house as well, the short-term lets?
Yeah.
And control freaks like that.
Yeah, so you love pain. You're pain junkies.
Yeah, and then 2020.
Abdicate. That's the word.
Yeah.
And we are bringing things in-house more so now as well, because like 2020 we've launched a big property group.
Yeah.
And now we're bringing in more of the construction in-house as well, because up until the last couple of years we've been outsourcing the works. So we'd have different contractors doing a project at a time, or maybe 2 maximum at the same time. And now we've kind of moved on to more than half of the stuff we're doing, we're kind of bringing in-house, and
we're trying to avoid becoming a building company as a separate thing, but there's a fair bit we can do in-house.
Yeah. So like the one just on the other road, which we bought another existing HMO, we've renovated. That we've done in-house. This one we're doing in-house.
Yeah.
Then obviously we've got the block of flats we're building. The one we've just seen. All of that stuff is now mostly in-house.
Yeah. If you've got economies of scale, it can work, but also you need the management infrastructure of hiring in-house as well. Yeah. You need economies of scale both with work pipeline, infrastructure as well within your business to kind of...
The pipeline of work, you have the work for them to move around to make it worthwhile, not going to retain them. you'll lose, and once you've got good trades, you definitely don't want to.
Yeah, absolutely. So, shall we go in and have a look? It's empty at the moment, is
Empty
it?
at the moment. The work's been going on. Kind of finishing line. We've got photo shoots booked in. We're meant to do this Saturday, but I think it'll have to be pushed back a few days because we've got cleaners coming in later today. Furniture's being delivered tomorrow.
Photographer in the house, cleaner in the house.
They kind of work.
Near enough. Near enough. Yeah, I mean the cleaners they only work for us, even though they're external, but they pretty much were their main client, right?
Yeah.
So this was an existing 6-bedroom HMO. So let's come on in. I'll show you around.
So this one is not a back to brick.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Our preference on HMOs is to gut them like the one we saw before.
Yeah.
And just recreate them exactly the way we want. So with something like this, we class this as a medium refurb, where we've kept some of the stuff and we've then redone other things to try and improve it.
Yep.
So we can get the rent right up. Because our objective with this is we want to get a very high rent in an area where there's a lot of poor quality stock and rents are generally low, but we've got quite a lot of property in this area where our rents are way, way higher than everybody else's.
Yeah.
And that's what we would do with this.
So with this particular house, we already had the infrastructure. So it's 6 rooms, 4 en suites, 1 bathroom shared by 2 rooms. So we've left the en suites as they are, located sizes of them. It's not our typical configuration. We do it slightly differently, but to save the cost, we weren't rebuilding the studs and everything. But we did get the internals of the ensuite, so the shower tray, screens, vanities, toilets, everything went out and been reinstalled as new. We made small tweaks, so like this door, for example, we moved it by about 6 inches. So this door used to be more like here. So we've put a lintel in, moved it over here, so we could have a wardrobe here. Because before that would have been dead space.
These rooms are really tight, there's not a lot of space. You know, everything needs to be laid out exactly for it to function.
Yeah.
And one thing we've done with this one is it used to have all wood chip wallpaper. So we had the guys strip it all back, and the whole house has been re-skimmed and replastered. But we've used the guys mesh and skim, so it's basically all tightened a bit more than, so there's no cracks coming through or in the future or anything like that.
These are massive, aren't they? You put these in the bedrooms, the rentability of these, how quickly they rent, like, ginormous.
We've got 3 of the rooms here that we put the tea stations in, so also they are going to have their own sink, mini fridge. In fact, all the rooms have mini fridges, and they could have a small little cooking tea station facility here.
No proper fitting.
Yeah, you got that idea because it comes to studio, doesn't it? Microwave, or they want to put their own hot
water. Yeah, workstation there for laptop stuff. Like got Cat 6 cabling.
Yeah, perfect.
Even like on the sockets, USB-C charger.
Yeah, so we've got the USB charging points. Obviously, we've got the Cat 6 points. The TV is going to go on here. We're going to provide them to fit the TVs in. Double bed's going to be. It's a small double at this point. Wardrobe, gents wardrobe with a few drawers underneath it. Things we've moved around was the rad. So the rad used to be in that corner before, so we moved that out. In fact, there was a chimney here as well, which we took out. The reason we took that out because the previous owner, well, let's say the current owner, really, because we're doing it as a sale, the front room on the first floor, they've split into 2 rooms. It's quite a standard reconfiguration because it's a big room upstairs. And for that reason, they have taken that chimney out on the first floor, but he's never taken the chimney on the ground floor. It didn't make sense, so obviously we didn't have to do any stuff whatsoever, just literally taking it out. So those bits we've changed. The windows have stayed, so we've partially rewired, with added additional circuits for the rooms that have these stations, partially reconfigured central heating, all brand new bathrooms. When we'll go to the first floor, you'll be able to see the bathrooms better because it's all clean.
Yeah.
Upstairs should be, the ground floor is now kind of working top down, but they're going to be quite nice, boutique-ish style.
Yeah, you can see.
Like, you know, it's like little things like, you know, dimmable lights, etc. But we haven't gone all the way. We normally put integrated wall-mounted bedside lights with switches and all the others, but we didn't go the extra mile to literally go and rewire.
It's about managing the cost because you can spend so much money on it to make it amazing, but actually you're squeezing a profit on it.
Absolutely.
There's not going to be as much profit there. So it needs to produce a decent profit for us as well, to make it worth the effort.
And when you go back to brick, you've got that, it's easier, isn't it, to navigate then when you're doing these partial sort of ones. You've got to weigh up the cost for the return on there, but I think design outweighs most things.
Yes.
Like the design of having the feature wall there, the nice kitchens, the nice kitchen units, design of the back accents. People's eye will naturally gravitate towards that more than anything, the design of radiator. And I find, look, is this a six person
Well, 6 bedroom, but we're applying for a Saj Hussain for 7 person because room 2 is big enough for a couple.
Okay, yeah.
So we will move that into Saj Hussain.
But as I was saying, with queen beds, when they're not double rooms, then you've got like 2 people go in.
Occupancy.
Yeah, they're more than enough, aren't they? You know. In fact, sometimes you're better off with a single bed and having a bit more space. Not single, a queen bed and a bit more space when it's only one occupancy. Like.
And I mean, as you said, a single bed makes more sense, but when you're trying to sell the rooms, nobody likes a single bed.
Yeah. Queens are the ones that kind of they are like the smaller, but.
Yeah, and we've got 2 pillows on there. Nobody notices that it's actually
a queen.
You still mark it as a
singles are not worth it. If I looked at HMO now and it's just single rooms, I just like it's just
The perception is it's cheaper and everything as well. So when you've got a queen bed in there, then that way it just feels actually it's more valuable.
Yeah.
Shall we go through the rest of the house? So we've already had an A-grade power panel. No, sorry, we've installed a new A-grade power panel because it used to be only an interlink system.
Okay.
So then
you got it for the 7 Saj Hussain.
Well, it's just
we don't put these in all our HMOs.
Yeah, and to be fair, I'd be surprised if that comes in as a standard, even on like 6 sort of.
Yeah. Sometimes you get interlink smoke detection.
Yeah.
But really, interlink smoke detection is not suitable for this.
So for the viewers, I think we spent 2,300 on the A-grade fire panel in this house, and that was. It's not fully even retrofitted because we had all the floors up and everything, so it's all nicely wired in. There's no trunking, nothing like that. But again, you've got different ranges of A-grade power panels. You can get the budget ones, the very expensive ones. It's kind of mid-range, like decent quality mid-range stuff. So as I said, the whole house has been, and even this door, we've moved this door as well a little bit to be able to put a wardrobe on that side. This will be the dual occupancy room, slightly larger. We've got a kind of slightly separated tea station and the workstation over here. Yeah, we've done a little dividers here. Just to break it up a little bit more. You know, it's something we're always testing with different designs. You've got a very large shower tray in there, so that's, good size for 2 people.
Yeah.
And the kitchen was the space that we didn't reskim because it was the only place that had already been plastered before, which it will take. So the guys are fitting a breakfast bar over here, and the timber paneling was going to be here with the TV on this wall and some soft furnishing here for like a seating area. A new kitchen. Fully, and what we have done with this one, because I think it wasn't really set up correctly having that amount of showers on one boiler.
Okay.
So there used to be a WC at the back. We've moved it, we've changed it into a plant room, so we've got a 300-litre tank there, a new boiler, so that's been all rerouted, because originally the boiler used to be in this corner. So we boxed in, got the pipes round, and done it really the way it should have been done from the start. Because we've got 4 showers, we've got to make sure we've got plenty of pressure. Basically new central heating from that point.
There are lots of times we'll see HMOs when we look at the heating system or the way the showers are set up. Even if there are lots of ensuites, you think actually it hasn't been designed well. So what will happen is the showers will run poorly. Yeah. There'll be a trickle, the pressure won't be right, or they'll go cold. And what happens is the tenants won't stay.
Increase time. Yeah. The thing with HMOs, they've got to pick a bag up, go in the room, and if it's not what they think it is, they just move so quick and easily. They've got no tyre commitment, furniture, stuff like that. And again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier on with everybody says, is it not competitive? You just got to learn to operate within a competitive environment. And this is how you operate in these environments by just making it better for people.
And if it's nice, people will stay.
Twin showers and stuff like that.
It feels homely, people will stay.
I think when we come to look at HMOs, we really prioritise on fast Wi-Fi, good communal areas, heavy cleaners in weekly, good mattresses. That's one thing I think we find that not being too cheap on the mattresses. And people do get a good rest. They like the place. They stay in a bit longer. This is where we're going to have all the data and the CCTV. That's going to get locked up. The only reason we kept it here because it's where originally the CCTV was in, so we didn't rewire it. But it had quite an ugly commercial metal box on it.
Okay,
so it's a unit. It's going to get locked up. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a ubiquity Wi-Fi mesh system. You've got Cat6 cables on all the floors, so we're going to have a commercial grade Wi-Fi system in. That's the best thing. But also, all the rooms have Cat6 connections into RG45, so they can physically get hardwired into it.
A VoIP phone or a PlayStation or whatever, if they want a faster speed, we can get that.
Yeah, it's key. And that's what everybody wants. PlayStation usually.
Yeah, so many people working from home as well. And this was originally sort of one room originally. The partition to split it into 2 rooms.
Right. Yep.
And the chimney was there. I just was referring to downstairs.
So obviously they've taken out the chimney to make this 2 rooms viable. This is about 8.5 square meters the room. So what's going to happen? You're going to have a small double bed headboard against here. It's literally going to be finished pretty much just before the rad is. We're going to have the TV on that side, just above the wall, above the bed. We're going to have a gents wardrobe in that corner, and we're going to have a built-in worktop space. Once we have the furniture in, we're going to have a mini fridge here, a wall unit, a 500 wall unit.
So it's still like a little mini.
Almost, but it's a workstation with extra storage.
Yeah, ensuite in this room.
Yeah, so these two rooms will share a bathroom that's going to be allocated just for them two. So the bathroom door is going to also have a padlock on that, like a combination lock,
So
and they only get in that, yeah. And this and that room are mirrored exactly the same. Now, as you can see, these are what I'm saying, the internet connection points. So right above the workstation, so they're working. We've got Virgin Media business here, so about 600 megabytes, 700
There's
megabytes.
business connection in, because not only do you get a fast download, you get a fast upload on a business connection, and also if there's an issue, they tend to
Resolve.
yeah.
Yeah. And again, all the doors are new, door frames are new, everything's fire rated. So we've had to do a fair bit of like that kind of stuff just to get it properly compliant. It was done okay, but it wasn't really done. These are the points that we're going to have the Wi-Fi dishes. So we're going to have one Wi-Fi dish here, which is going to be covering this side, and then we're going to have another one where we've got this table here, which will take care of this part of the house. And then downstairs we're going to have another one, and then you've got the main kitchen one as well.
So that's just like the like for like room.
So that's like for like. Yep. Then you've got the kitchenette now. So what we've done, again, a bit creative, because here we can take the chimney out. The cost wasn't worth the while of taking the stack out. So there's going to be a small workstation here, TV again, all the connection points. Mini fridge is already in here. We've got the, now it would probably be easier to see these rooms, but it should be more empty. So we've fully tiled the bathrooms. Quite compact vanity units. We're looking for something to be quite space saving. We wouldn't build them that small, but if you're sitting on the loo, you've still got, and I'm like 6'2", 6'3", whatever that is, and 1.9 meters. So we've still got a decent amount of legroom, right? A bit of storage, a decent power shower. And again, we needed to upgrade the water system because look, like for these to work properly and the tenants to enjoy their stay.
My legs are yours, that's just about. But yeah, you got to think of these things. Again, retention, like the HMOs are in that front end design, isn't it? And I was speaking to somebody the other day, some mentees, and they want to get the HMO. They've never done HMO before. I introduced them to a guy very proficient, but he charges a fee for it. I said, seriously, the inefficiencies. What some of my first HMO, the inefficiencies, thinking that plug should have been there. That should have been there, and that will save you them fees.
Yeah, and you can't change that afterwards. Once it's done, it's done. It's too big a job to then change. And if you can have someone guide through that and avoid all those mistakes, you're just going to have a much better product with a much shorter time frame.
Absolutely, definitely. Yeah, so that's one of the rooms. Then the last room is just at the back. And you've got the bathroom that's going to be shared with the two smaller rooms. So this was a bit of a compromise. Yeah. So this was already the way it was designed when we took it on. So you've got the WC with the wash basin above that. We just changed the unit because the one there was, all the bathrooms and suites have been fully refitted. Here we've altered a few things. So the rad originally used to be on this wall. So we moved it over here so we could have a small double bed this way, headboard against that wall. This is going to be the space for a gents wardrobe. So it's still kind of give enough space here, and that'll become effectively just your kind of workstation. Mini fridge is going to go in that corner. With these kind of just extra wall units for additional storage space. It's just little pictures we go for, like printer handles, things that people will be touching more.
But even down to placing the radiators in HMO, you just get them in the wrong place and then configuring your furniture, like you've got so much to think about it, and you don't think about it. First one I done, I put all the rads in the wrong place. I was like, oh right, where to put the bed there? Where to put the wardrobe? You've got the space. So like now I've got to put the bed on the wardrobe, on the radiator.
And sometimes that's what, when we're working with the builders saying, right, where do you want this, I don't know, stick it there.
And
rather than having a full plan before we even start to say, actually, we've worked everything out, it's going to go in. Pilots are very good at kind of planning all the detail out before we start.
Normally you'd find like people will put the rads under the windows, which is very common, right? But sometimes it's definitely not the most practical way of doing it, especially with small rooms. If you've got a big place to display with, you get a bit of give, right? You can swallow some of the mistakes up. It's not a massive issue. When we were working with HMOs, smaller spaces like that, it's imperative we plan it out. So before we start any project, we'll use floor planner and we'll get an architect to come and measure it up. We'll overlay their plans. Sometimes I'll even come and measure them themselves. It takes about an hour to do full measurements for myself, right? Even if we're the size of the house. And what we'll do is we'll plan every room to the T. Okay, where the furniture goes in, because we'll scale it all out to the size of the furniture. Because we know our small bed is 1.2 meters by 1.9 meters. Or chests, we know everything, right? What is the furniture we're going to put in. So at that point, then we can work with the layout, decide how it's going to be the most functional layout for the tenant to be living at. So it's practical, storage is taken into account, where the TV is going to be positioned, all the sockets, etc., etc. And then from there we'll work backwards. Okay, so where are we moving the rads, where are we putting the sockets in? And this is more practical when we're doing it back to brick.
Yeah.
Obviously here we gotta play with what's already here. So you know, even some of the sockets, like that socket is quite crooked, right? But for us to chase that back box out, and we're gonna have a mini fridge here. It's never gonna be.
Yeah. Right. People are going to pay attention to the design, not crooked.
You know, and then we will. So some things we can get away with that we know, but some things that if it's like, you know, a sore eye, then we'll change. So this room will also actually move the door back a bit to make it feel a bit bigger. So the door was here before, so it would have been quite a small space, but what we've done. So you come in, you can still have, we'll have, it's either a mirror or a coat hooks or whatever it is on the
Even
plan.
behind the door, coat hook, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. So it just makes
So
it's
that's
another
not
square meter.
usable space, but it makes the room feel bigger.
Massively, yeah.
But it would also be taken into account from the planning point of view in terms of like the sizes of the rooms anyway.
Yeah,
Right,
square
space.
footage.
It's getting there. We're not miles away from here now. It's more of a snag list and small little bits that still need to be sorted out. But once we're renting this out, we're probably in this area. We're probably expecting because we just finished one very similar to this a couple of months back
Yeah, and on the next street.
on the next street, and they've rented out on average just under £800 a room.
Okay. And what do the poor ones rent for? Like, what was this renting for before?
Oh,
Wow. So,
Maybe 400 quid, I probably don't
max.
know.
Yeah,
Maybe
exactly.
350.
and struggle to rent, high turnover.
Yeah, back
Exactly.
So-
So here again, we'd probably expect 750, 800, thereabouts. But this is this part of the Birmingham area. Like,
Yeah.
if it
It's
were
not the
different
best part.
parts,
If
because
this was in the south, rents will be probably not 300 quid.
because where our offices are, where we were filming this morning, we've got HMO rooms there that are reaching £1,100 a month.
Yeah, wow.
Which is okay. They're slightly bigger rooms than this, more self-contained kind of that
This is
side,
okay.
but very nice, you know, finished. But those are the ones we've done back to brick. We've kept in the portfolio. Probably not going to sell them anytime soon. Whilst these ones, again, anyone looking for a few HMOs to buy, they're pretty good deals.
This will sell for, so let's look on costing. So what it cost to get, like, so who said it was Archimedes or somebody like that said, if you had to chop a tree down, this is not exact quote, I'm going to butcher it. If you had to chop a tree down, you'd spend 50 minutes sharpening the axe and 10 minutes chopping. So the planning at the front end, a lot of people try and save on designing it themselves, and I used to do it. I used to go around and pick up furniture and try and pick everything. Inefficiencies, isn't there?
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So, but back to that cost of architect coming in here, the planning.
Yeah,
What's the cost of this? What do you expect to flip this for?
So we've got a designer who's a Lithuanian girl. She's an architect and a designer. She's been working for us remotely for maybe 6 years now. She's based in Denmark.
Okay, cool.
So she does all of our schemes. So she'll probably be about £1,000 on her services thereabouts, start to finish. She'll be involved in the photo shoot. She'll speak with the guys and say, put this little ornament here, turn it this way on WhatsApp video calls, and then the photographer will do all their.
Does she help with the design, like?
Yeah,
features
So
as well,
she'll
like
literally
kitchens?
go with
The whole
so.
thing.
What I tend to do is I'll do the functional layout element and I'll design how I want to do it. Then she'll say, okay, let's put feature walls, let's put the greens, let's put all the little other elements that bring it together. So that's probably around that. Then we've had other fees from the architect, building regs, planning for the 7.
Article 4 burn.
It is, yeah, all of it.
How are the planners as well to deal with and navigate?
They're not easy, but as you do, when you do it time and time again, you understand what they want and you kind of work through stuff. And planning is still one of those things where it really is which planning officer picks up your application and their view.
Yeah.
Like anything,
Yeah.
isn't it? You know, you go to a doctor, you get one good doctor, one that's it. So yeah.
But generally, we kind of have a good understanding of what they probably want, and they're trying to meet all those needs. And if they want something else, we'll adapt and try and work with that.
In my experience, you've done more HOs than me, but I'm finding they're trying to encourage this style one for professionals, all en suites, high end.
Yeah.
They're realising that.
Because the perception, even probably 4 or 5 years ago, was HMOs is these nasty kind of high entry-level rooms. Yeah,
bed sits, hovels,
And when surveyors come out or some of the council looking at it, they go, oh wow, this is kind of amazing. You know, I'd happily live there. When they say those words,
you know
that they've not seen stuff like this before.
Yeah.
Their perception of what HMOs are is completely different.
You know, we probably spend a bit more than most people would on these. From time, as you said, planning up front, you know, from literally the amount of time it takes to design the scheme and execute it from that point of view, then the cost overall. I mean, here we'll probably be close to 90 grand and would still call this as a light refurb, realistically. In that fee, we'll have all the costs in, all the legals we've incurred up front for drafting the assisted sale documents. Again, there's no stamp duty here for us because it's the way it's structured. Then holding costs are negligible here for us at the moment, because it's literally just council tax and utilities what we're getting, because we're not physically incurring any monthly costs as such. The refurb itself, again, it's all been kind of in-house and subbed out, so like electricians are like, you know, working for us on other jobs, plasterers, everything else. I mean, we could pull up the whole itemized list, but overall,
so purchase
is what we've got to pay you on.
Yeah,
When we had the legals and stuff set up at the beginning. About 90 grand's our total spend on everything.
everything
the furniture, like the lock
Completely
drive,
finished, ready for tenants to move in. So we're about 3.5 in terms of spend.
And as a unit, this would rent for
750, 800.
Yeah.
So we'll,
as a whole, the whole.
Oh,
So,
so
like,
we'll generate probably around 55 grand.
Yeah.
I think that work out is probably about 55 grand.
54, 55 thereabouts annually.
Yeah.
So let's say we take half of that, so we'll probably make 20, 25 grand. Well, take off the utilities and we've got in-house management. So
operating cost 12 grand you take off that. Is operating cost.
So we'll probably make three grand a month for the next 6 months. Whilst we got it, say good 20
In terms
grand.
of the sale, when we do a commercial valuation could end up close to 500 grand
Okay, yeah.
on this, because that one was
470.
470.
I think it was 470.
And do you find,
Yeah,
was you not tempted to keep it with a commercial valuation then?
We've got so much stuff going on, you can't keep everything.
Yeah,
and our business is, we keep good quality, high yielding stuff, HMOs, SAs mostly, and then we flip. So this is feeding our flipping business at the moment.
Yeah, because you need that active income again.
Well, there's a block of apartments, we need cash flow for that, so everything is...
yeah, you need
You
to
can't hold on to everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would the buyer buy? Would they buy it on a yield-based commercial valuation?
So we'd probably say a little bit less than kind of what we get as a valuation. So that one, what's the value? Can you remember what the value on that
For
one?
the other one?
Yeah, well, just
470, I'm sure it was, yeah.
So if it's 470, we'll probably sell at 450 or something.
Okay.
And they'll still produce a good income. We'll organise the finance and stuff for them.
Still double digits return for
And
them.
manage, would you sell that managed?
Yeah, we manage it.
Yeah, so that's a really appealable.
Yeah, so even now when we're letting it, we know we're going to be managing and going forward. So we have tenants anyway, they're responsible for it. It's ongoing operation.
At the same time, obviously, we don't cut corners, even though it's a flip project, everything's done well in terms of like, because we know we'll end up managing it, so we'll end up dealing with any issues
we don't want leaks, we don't want electrical issues, we don't want things
that's
like,
why, you know, everything's been lifted.
Factory just been, you know, hidden away somewhere, that's going to cause a problem later.
And stuff, you know, that we've kept now more or less is like slightly the higher end areas.
The top end, good locations, which, you know, stuff that we have to keep next to us.
Yeah,
but overall here again, the aim with the rental income, and once we sell, it's probably still going to be around 100 grand profit in it for us. Thereabouts, you know.
Out of when we're flipping, we try and aim close to 100 to make it worth the effort.
But it makes sense as well, keeping the build team infrastructured, obviously the way you acquired it, you know. Most of the people now are on commission, so we've got setters and stuff like that, like it's all 100% commission. You work, you get paid. You get paid very handsomely, but you've got to put the work in, hit the KPI. So I've got no responsibility of stuff like that. You have to train them, obviously, and you have to keep them accountable and keep an eye on them, but it's very different from the metric. And that's when I sold my lettings as well. It's like, to earn £2 grand a month clear profit from lettings, I probably need a team of 4. Like, if I don't want to be involved with it, a lot of responsibility, hire, where I can have me, a PA, and some people on commission based only, and like 10x that, you know. So yeah, you do things. So where's your hunger? Where's your hunger for the next few years? As you said I mentioned that stress, and I could scale back. What's your vision? Is it growth more?
I'm always interested and keen to grow businesses, not just like one business, but businesses surrounding what we're doing and supporting what we're doing. The two that I've decided I don't want to do is estate agency or a building construction business. I just think they're too much headache for what they're worth. And this year, 2024, I've kind of been putting a lot more energy into building our training business, because I think there's huge potential in that. And like I've done before today, when we had a chat previously, talking about on our YouTube channel, I've kept it very, very property specific, and property even in England, not even in Scotland, for example, or certainly not anything overseas. But there's so many other things I really enjoy, the sales, marketing and stuff, and I'd love to speak about that. But I try and keep it really tight, the niche on just property. And then I think the training and education, as you grow that and you grow that with partners, actually opens up the opportunity to do more of those kind of things, step into it more around the marketing stuff, sales stuff.
That is my kind of game plan. And you can. I was watching like
learned some. Those first mentors, Mark and what's the name, so much from Progressive. They was like they led the way, didn't they? They
Yes.
kind of got the arrows in their back, kind of thing. They're like, especially in the training sort of space coming out of that recession.
Yes.
But I also watched like how many trainers they went through, because again, similar with the sourcing stuff. To get a really good trainer, they need to be entrepreneurial. Most entrepreneurial want to reach their entrepreneurial itch. And what I realised with their model is they work for Progressive. So at the moment, I've JV'd with a couple of people in the training space to say, look, you still be the face of it. You are the face of it. I understand the sales and marketing in the back end, so we plug in my sales and marketing. But you are very much you're the face of it. We're JVing on this. Like, this is pretty much your business. It's probably slightly more than mine. We're also a silent, not silent partner, but a partner in the background that works, but also is definitely not the face of it. And I feel I will retain people a lot easier and better like that. And again, I can take people, because the difficulty is the more active you are in property, the easier training becomes.
Yes.
But the more active you are in property, the harder it becomes to be a trainer, because of time allocation and split of that kind of thing.
Yeah, a solid training business requires a lot of time and energy towards something quite substantial. Yeah, but we should chat about that more. I think there'd be some.
So right now, back at Saj's, just finishing filming with Martin, great bit of content. Make sure you watch that video here, that's going to be a great bit of content. I'm now actually speaking and I'm really nervous. I do a lot of online sort of events and speaking and content, but I don't do much in front of the room, and I haven't done one for a while, so I'm a little bit nervous, but hey, it's all about stepping out your comfort zone. You need to look at realistic. If you want good deals, you can't expect to go on Rightmove and go, fancy a good deal today, oh there's one, let's have that. Easy, let's go kind of thing. And contrary to popular belief, you hear a lot of people say, oh, find a motivated seller, like deal with their problem. Yeah, kind of find motivated sellers, but this is hard facts. Last year, at the end of last year, when it was great spending the day with Saj, also with Martin, bumping into him on that day. You can watch that video here of me going around Martin and the HMO project that he's doing in an Article 4 area, turning a 2-bedroom into a 6-bedroom HMO. If you're still here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, really helps the channel, and please share this out and add any comments below. Share this out to somebody you think might find this inspirational or valuable. My wife's live my terms. My mission is to help as many people live on their terms using education as a vehicle to do that. So remember, if you don't evolve your ideas, you'll never live on your own terms. So evolve your ideas, live on your own terms, and have an amazing day. Make sure you watch this video here. YouTube is suggesting you will like next.